Everyone loves a good flick shot like this.
Dude, cat.
However, while these flick shots are definitely flashy and entertaining, they have people forgetting what's truly important to aim well in Valorant. One of the important aspects is tracking. I know, this isn't nearly as exciting as hitting a quick aim lock onto an enemy. Not with external software, by the way, we want to make that clear. But tracking is one of the most important fundamentals for aiming in Valorant. If you can't track enemies, you're not going to win most of your fights. So let's delve a little bit deeper into it. First, what exactly is tracking? Tracking refers to the ability for a player to maintain their crosshair and aim onto an enemy during the duration of a duel. Sounds easy, right? Well, not exactly. Tracking an enemy's head is extremely difficult, particularly if an enemy is moving. In most cases, there will be some sort of movement that the enemy is doing. If you don't trace their head appropriately, you'll miss your shot. You could always try to hit an insane flick shot when an enemy moves outside your crosshair, but that will be even harder. If you're able to maintain your crosshair in line with their movements, you'll have a much easier time landing your shots. This is why tracking is such an important technique and one that's underrated amongst Valorant players. If you can't keep your aim in check, you're going to be in trouble. In fact, in most situations when you're instantly one-tapped, it's due to the enemy having good tracking rather than a good flick shot. They maintain their crosshair at your head and one bullet and you're dead. This sets us up perfectly for our next transition. Now that we know what tracking is and why it's important, when exactly do you use it? Tracking is essentially a mechanic you use throughout your Valorant games, but there are a few more niche situations where you really want to focus on it. The first is in pistol rounds. Many players try to spam their bullets as fast as they can when they really should be taking their time during their shots. By taking your time between shots, you can better utilize tracking to ensure your shots actually hit. No point in spamming if you're just going to be whiffing. You'll see many of the top pros taking their time during their pistol shots as well. This is so they can focus on quality shots and have that extra millisecond to properly track the enemy's head. Pistol rounds are all about quality over quantity. Take your time and make sure you have your crosshair where it needs to be before you hit mouse 1. The other big instance you want to use tracking is during long range engagements. In these ranges, you really want to work on burst firing and tap firing. You have more time to adjust your aim in these instances, so you should do so. Again, a common mistake players make in long range duels is they try to shoot too early before they've had time to micro adjust. This results in them missing shots that they shouldn't miss. It's a few extra milliseconds to track the enemy that pays off significantly. Last but not least, you need to be tracking when you're in the middle of your sprays. You may have heard of the infamous run and gun technique with the Spectre. This is luckily going to be nerfed a bit, but we can't always one-tap enemies on the first bullet. Particularly if an enemy is moving, it can be difficult to land that first shot. We need to retrace the enemy after we miss to make sure we don't miss the next one though. These are just a few examples of when tracking is important. However, you should really be utilizing this whenever you're getting into an aim duel. Now we know when to use tracking, but how do we actually practice this? We'll get into that in just a second, but before we do that, if you really want to take things to the next level and climb up to Radiant, then you want to check out our website at SkillCapped.com. On our website, we have multiple comprehensive guides and courses on various aspects of the game. Tracking was one of the issues that I wanted to work on, and SkillCapped had an entire guide to help me improve my tracking, along with various other aspects of my aim. This is just a taste of what SkillCapped has to help you improve in Valorant. We guarantee you'll see significant improvements quickly, so if you're interested in taking your game to the next level, the link will be provided in the description below. If you're a beginner, we recommend utilizing a software program called Gameleap. It's free and has multiple drills implemented into it for you to practice different aspects of your aim. One of the best drills in this program is a drill called Strafe Track. In this drill, you'll have targets appear randomly on the screen moving side to side. The goal with this drill is to maintain your crosshair on them until the meter above it goes to 0. The target will change direction at random times, in which you have to change your mouse movement to match it. This is the first step into working on your tracking skills by having you practice aiming on a larger target than you'd see in Valorant. The second useful drill for practicing tracking is Spider Shot. In this drill, you'll be shooting at targets of various sizes. Eventually, the targets become quite small, thus forcing you to have to accurately track the target before you shoot. In Gameleap, you do lose points if you miss, so you want to again focus on making sure your shots are going to hit before you pull the trigger. The smaller targets are more relatable to an enemy's head in Valorant though. In Gameleap, you lose points for missing. In Valorant, this is more punishing and you'll probably lose the fight. For these two drills, we recommend doing each of them 5 times. This totals up to 10 minutes of aim training on Gameleap. Gameleap is a great way to initially get used to different aiming techniques. Perhaps you just started playing FPS games or you just got a new mouse that you aren't used to yet. Gameleap can help you get adjusted and comfortable. From there, what will really help you improve your tracking skills in Valorant is, well, by playing Valorant. It makes sense, if you want to improve at a game, you should probably play that game, but you need purpose to properly work on tracking. One of the most popular drills that players do to improve tracking is by hitting the practice range and standing in front of a bot. From there, you want to line up your crosshair at the bot's head and then shift walk left and right around the bot. While doing this, you want to maintain your crosshair at the bot's head the entire time. This is pretty challenging to do and honestly is not the most exciting one to do, but it's crucial for working on tracking. This is also a pretty tough drill to monitor improvements on, We recommend recording yourself doing the drill, and when you watch it, see if you were able to maintain your crosshair on the bot's head the entire time you were walking. We recommend trying to keep your crosshair in check while shift walking back and forth 10 times. If you can consistently do that, then you want to progress the drill by moving further away from the bot. This will make the bot's head smaller, thus making it harder for you to accurately track it. Again, work on trying to keep your crosshair in line while shift walking. The second progression from here is to start running during the drill. This will force you to have to track and micro adjust at a faster pace as you would in a real game. Once you can do that for the designated number of reps, you want to start strafe shooting. This means you're moving side to side and stopping in between movements to shoot. This is more translatable to real Valorant situations where you may need to strafe to avoid enemy bullets, while at the same time tracking the enemy so that when you're done strafing, you'll be able to land the next shot. Strafe one direction and then shoot your bullet. Strafe the other direction afterwards and shoot again. Repeat this 10 times each direction, and if you're able to immediately land the first shot, then you know that you are properly tracking the enemy while moving. If you missed, then you know you were a bit off and need to take an extra few milliseconds to adjust. Eventually, you want to be able to shoot that shot immediately when you stop moving. Once you're able to consistently land your shots while strafe shooting, it's time to go into Deathmatch. This game mode gives you the most enemies to track in the shortest amount of time. What will make practicing on DM effective is the intent. If we're intending to work on tracking, we want to make sure we're not just trying to do crazy flicks onto enemies. Rather, we want to again slow things down and make those smoother tracking adjustments before we fire. The best weapons to work on this is the Guardian, Vandal, and Sheriff. This is because these weapons are able to one-tap enemies with a headshot in most cases. They also have a lower firing rate, thus punishing you harder if you missed your initial shots. So don't miss them. If you want to be good with these guns, you have to make sure your tracking is good so you land those first shots. Have this mentality in each aim duel you come across in Deathmatch. Take your time and make sure you're properly tracked onto the enemy before you shoot. It doesn't matter if you end up losing the Deathmatch, that's not the goal we're going for. Just focus on tracking and landing high quality shots. If you miss, still take the time to track the enemy and ensure the next shot will hit. In each DM you go to, try to see if you can track faster and faster until it's nearly instantaneous. That's all we have for today's video. Follow these steps and we guarantee you'll see insane improvements in your tracking skills and aim. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below to help support us. I'm Dr. Zora, we here at SkillCapped want to thank y'all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.